Good evening, Defenders, and welcome to another episode of the Defender Fitness Alliance show. Very special guest this evening. I have with me, he is the founder of N3 Nutrition. He's the top go-to guy for online coaching programs. I have none other than Jason Phillips.
What's going on, my man?
Thanks for joining me. Welcome to the show. Can you start off by telling us a little bit about your professional background?
Yeah, man. So, long story short, dude, I got into the space as an anorexic. So a little bit differently than most people. I found fitness kind of by accident. I was a golfer at the age of 18. I was, nationally ranked, world ranked, and basically got injured and had to get into the rehab setting. And I had never been in a gym in my life. I never lifted weights. I hated fitness. I ate fast food. You name it, dude. It was the antithesis of fitness. And so I started getting into fitness, and just it actually downward spiraled into an eating disorder. I had some, obviously injuries are brutal mentally, and had to overcome some personal demons, and fortunately overcame that eating disorder. And from that point forward, just declared I was going to pay it forward to everybody that I came in contact with, and that right then and there was actually the beginning of what I do today. That was literally the genesis of me coaching people. If I met you, I wanted to coach you. I wanted to help you in some manner. And here we are 15, 16 years later, and I'm still coaching a lot of people. So,
well, congrats on your success. And a lot of people don't know about the story behind, how you guys started. Can you further tell me about, what would be your area of expertise nowadays?
Yeah. So, obviously having overcome an eating disorder, having understood all the hormonal ramifications that come with it, all the personal ramifications, just the mindset, I feel like I've been put through a lot, man. Call it a higher power or a faith-based, I've been put through some crap in my life. And, I would never wish anorexia on my worst enemy, because it's just brutal mentally. But it was put in my life so that I could serve others. And, I've overcome it and I've learned from it. And, so between trying to compete in CrossFit at a high level, which led me down the rabbit hole of HPA axis dysfunction or adrenal fatigue, I had to overcome that as well. And so, I've kind of been through a lot of what we're seeing in the world today. I made the same mistakes that a lot of people are making. And because I made them, because I've successfully overcome them, it's allowed me to not just create prescriptions to move people forward, but to also empathize, because they're not easy situations to get yourself out of. And, the first thing that a lot of people need is that trust, right? They need to know that there's someone out there that hears them and that understands them, and that truly can move them forward. So it's, I feel like that's where my background kind of comes in handy.
Now, how did the whole business, the N3 Nutrition, come about? Was that just from your past experience, health experiences, like you talked about with your anorexia? Or
yeah, I always wanted to pay it forward. I always wanted to coach. I've had micro successes inside of coaching several times. Right out of high school, right out of college, and right into the professional world. I had some degree of success because I was doing fitness modeling at the time. I had a lot of exposure. But I had no business knowledge at that time. I was just trading dollars for hours, man. If someone wanted to work with me, I'd take $100 and I'd work with them. And, I really didn't know what I was doing, and I kind of burned myself out. And then, I kept dabbling in it. And so realistically, it was about 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago this November that I decided, I really needed to get serious about what we were doing. And ironically, what made me get serious was being overdrawn in my bank account. I woke up on a holiday morning. I was on a vacation with my girlfriend at the time. And anybody that knows me knows I have a love affair with Starbucks. And I couldn't even get my Starbucks coffee because I was overdrawn on my bank account. And that's embarrassing, especially you're dating a girl and you're trying to show her a good time on a trip, and before she knows that she's having to pay for shit. So it was, it made me get serious, man. And, we call it the Thanksgiving miracle because this all happened in like, I woke up and I saw I was overdrawn while I was on my way to the grocery store. And then like when I was walking the aisles of the grocery store, I pulled the app open again and a $500 check had cleared. So I literally had $500 to my name. It allowed me to pay for the trip, obviously. And, it just made me get serious, man. And I was like, stop messing around, go out and create the impact that that you're meant to have. And so, it started as just Jason Phillips Nutrition, just me, one person helping a lot of people. At my peak, I was coaching 167 people, which is just far too many people for one coach. And so I started just hiring coaches and training them. And that's what's built the methodology that we have today. Now we employ 14 coaches. Actually 16, I guess. Now we just hired 2 more. So 16 coaches. We have a whole certification. We have mentorships. We do a lot of education to help other aspiring coaches as well.
Awesome, man. So, I have a lot of my audience. They're all military veterans in
Sure.
the health and fitness business. Some personal trainers, some gym owners. You talked about coaches and getting mentors. For someone that's just starting out, what's one guidance or advice that you'd give for those people that are starting out in the fitness business?
So there's 2 things that you need to be really successful in the space. Number one, like you really do have to know your shit. I think that it's not 10 years ago where you can get by just looking good, right? Like 10 years ago, if you had abs, people would buy a program from you. Now it's like with the rise of Instagram and the rise of online coaching, like you just can't do that. Like you can't just be another good looking guy. So you got to know your stuff and you got to be able to back it up. But number 2, man, like you really got to be willing to like connect with people. And right now, like the game that's happening and you see it online is, the info marketing business, the digital products, the ebooks, the stuff like that. Like that's not popular anymore. People aren't buying ebooks. They're not buying $90 programs. They're buying coaching. They're buying $200, $300, $400, $500 coaching because what we've lacked inside of the world is human connection. And, one of the things said earlier, the reason I've become so successful is because of my ability to empathize inside of people's situations. So you just have to be willing to foster that connection, to create that connection with other individuals and to walk that journey with them. And I think those 2 things, man, being knowledgeable, being patient, because you're not going to build a big business overnight. It took me 15 years to really get to where I am. And I went broke, 12 years in. So, until I saw 7 figures, I saw 0 figures first. And so, patience, desire to help and education, man, those are like the tenets of just being successful.
Would you also agree that being transparency is key nowadays?
Yes.
And, in creating a brand, you kind of have to put a face to that brand as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you definitely, Garrett White, I don't know if you're familiar with him, The Warrior's Way.
Yeah.
He talks about, he always says, tell the fucking truth. And, Garrett's a mentor of mine. I pay him to be my business coach. And you guys know, like, he's not a cheap dude. And, I have so much respect for him because he wrote a book and it's effectively like the doctrine for men to become better men. And like the opening line of the book is, I cheated on my wife. And it's like, holy shit, here's this guy that's supposed to be leading a lot of men. And yet he's he's outing himself saying like he's a douchebag. And, he makes the point that like when you tell the truth, like when you put out all of your pitfalls, like when you out yourself before anybody else can out you, you got nothing to hide. You get to operate with a conscience that's so clear, right? And so you don't have to worry about your clients not thinking that you're authentic or you're not true, like because you're a living, breathing, walking example of what is supposed to be happening. Right. And that's what I try to do, man. I think if you looked at me in my younger years, I probably did a lot of bullshit where I was like, yeah, of course I diet. And like, I mean, listen, like I've got better genetics than a lot of people. Like I stay lean pretty easily and I don't make any bones about it. But, I would be like, oh, of course it's all diet training. Right. And now it's like, I try to be as real as I can, man. Like last year I started a summer series on YouTube about getting shredded. And I kind of went radio silent for 6 weeks, and I made a video, and I'm like, listen, guys, like I got burned out. Like it happens to
Right.
everybody. It wasn't, I could have made up some story about getting injured. Like I could have done all sorts of shit, but I'm like, the truth is I'm a human. I'm a business owner. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I got burned out, and I think that like you got to walk that walk, man. You got to lead from the front. You got to be transparent. I mean, we could go down a whole marketing rabbit hole, and inside of marketing is storytelling, right?
Right.
The best storytellers are the best marketers. But yeah, man, but that all goes back to me to connection. You're going to lead a tribe of people that are going through the shit that you've overcome. But unless you're willing to admit what you've overcome, you're never going to get anywhere.
Awesome points, man. Being transparent and, not being afraid to put your mistakes and, talk about your mistakes along your journey. Not everybody's perfect, guys. You also want to show the downs along with the ups, with business as well.
Yeah, you gotta be afraid to not make mistakes either.
Yeah.
I think so many people want the perfect tactics.
Right.
They want a blueprint to success, and there is no blueprint to success. I mean, here I am telling you guys, like, I mean, my company's, we're probably valued at $5 million right now, and that's great. But I had $0 long before I had 5 million. And, I'm telling you, like, I want people to listen to my business advice because I sell business coaching now. But I'm sitting here telling you, like, I was flat broke. Like, I got to tell you my journey, and I'm not afraid to fail, man. Like, if I lost everything tomorrow, I'm confident I could rebuild it all. And I rebuild it all predicated on one simple premise, and that's just that I want to help people. Like, more than anything, man. Like, when I do interviews like this, like when I'm speaking in public, like I just want to connect and I want to help people. That's it. That's the underlying principle of everything I do.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And I want to welcome our viewers, John, Paul, Caitlin, Charles. Guys, if you guys have any questions, just make sure you guys drop it in the comment section, and then I'll get Jason to answer. So
Absolutely.
Jason,
welcome.
Jason, going back to the questions here, let's dig deep now. What's been the worst moment so far in starting your nutrition business, and how did you overcome that moment?
Oh, gosh. I'm not sure there's a single worst one. You know what the single worst moment is when I had to decide to not coach clients anymore. So when I got into the coaching space, I did it fundamentally because I want to add value to people and I want to change the world. And as you grow and you scale and you ascend to different levels in business and you kind of hit that next meta inside of your business, you realize that your time is better spent at the top of the business, not in the business, and that your impact is much bigger felt from up here than it is down here. But yet you're so used to playing in the dirt and working with clients that it's very difficult to give up. You almost lose a sense of your identity. So when I made that decision to ascend purely to like a CEO type role, that was the hardest thing. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked to hear that. Like, you think I'm going to talk about like coaches leaving and clients leaving and systems and sales and marketing. And it's like, man, like if that's your problem, like that's a first world problem. Like, seriously, anybody that's like watching this right now, like if your problems are sales and marketing, like you got a first world problem, dude. Like, just help more people. Like, it's that simple. My biggest problem came when I felt like I didn't get to have that direct impact. Now, what got me through it was understanding now I'm at top of like 14 coaches that are all helping hundreds of people. And so in effect, I'm now helping exponentially more people than I ever could have directly. So I really had to understand that role, but that was definitely probably the hardest thing for me. Do
you feel like for, personal trainers or gym owners starting out, they all want to do like everything, right?
Everything. So, everything.
They don't want to, they want to have their hands on every little thing within their business. What's your advice for somebody that's like that? Well, two things, right? First is understand where your impact is felt best. Because you got in the game for impact, you didn't get in the game for money. And if you got in for money, you're never going to make it, I promise. You got to be in the game for impact. So number one, like, know where your impact is felt best. And while it may be an interaction, understand that impact can scale when you're living at the top of your business. But,
your impact isn't felt when you're doing accounting and admin and cleaning and shit like that. Like that's not where your impact is felt. And that's
Right.
that's 5%, right? So one of my mentors, Bedros Koulian, talks about like the 95-5 rule. Out of 100% things that you do, 95% of them are things that you really shouldn't even be doing, that like they don't require your time. And so that being said, anyone that's a business owner is type A and they're a control freak, and that's acceptable. Like you can't beat yourself up for that because it's just who you are innately. When I hired my first assistant, we did a deal where it was $500 a month for 90 days. And no tasks were assigned. It was literally like, let's just figure out if we work well together and if there's even enough stuff in my business for you to do. And it took her 5 months of working for me to just start taking stuff because I didn't freely give her things. Because I was that person, I was that control freak. But as we started seeing it work, and I saw proof of concept that, hey, I do trust somebody, I just started doing less and less. And now, like, I mean, like this is the first time you and I have ever spoken directly because you're never going to talk to me unless it's gone through my team. Like, and I trust them implicitly, it's a trust thing, man. Like there's no way of getting around it. I think you have to embrace the difficulty. I think you have to embrace the fact that it's supposed to be uncomfortable. I think a lot of entrepreneurs like to make it out like it's this comfortable thing and you're going to feel better instantly. Like when you outsource, and like, that's bullshit because you're not. You're going to question every single thing that you do. And so I think that you have to embrace the lack of comfort, and you still got to push through anyway. Right. And when you push through and you see it through, I mean, hey, the first time I ever hired an assistant, I fired her. It wasn't the right person. And the second one, like, we got it right. And that's okay. We're supposed to make mistakes as business owners.
Okay, so you talked earlier about your first assistant. You hired her for 90 days and you paid her about $500.
That was the second assistant. Yeah, that was the one that I have now. But yeah, the first one I ever hired, I fired. But that was the one that actually, she's now the COO of my business, ironically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you talked earlier about you still had, I guess, some issues about giving control to her. So like, how did she ask for like, hey, give me something to do, or like how did that?
Yeah, kind of like she'd be like, what can I do? Like she would ask me things like, what can I do? But like she started figuring out like there were just things that like I shouldn't be doing, and she just started doing it. And sometimes like that's when you got a good person in your system, right? It's like they just jump in and they take action, and you don't have to lead that. Now, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be leaders. We should be able to do that. But my advice to everybody is you write down every single thing you do on a daily basis. Like write down every single thing that happens in your business, from like getting your ass out of bed to checking your email to like literally hitting reply and hit send to putting things in your schedule to posting on Facebook, like the most minutia, right? Like write it all down, because you're gonna figure out so much of this is stuff you don't need to be doing. I mean, full transparency, I don't even know the username and login to our email software. I have no idea. Like, and I've never once sent an email from our account. I don't even know, like I have a Jason at IN3 Nutrition. I don't even know my login to that, because my assistants handle all of that.
Right.
So, but there was a time when I was answering those emails. There was a time when I was doing my own scheduling. There's a time when I was doing my own selling. And unless I was aware of the fact that those things were critical to my business to be successful, then I wouldn't have been able to unload them. So you have to first have awareness of what's happening in your business. Then you can start unloading things.
Is there like a certain time frame, or does one person just know like, hey, I need help, I need to get an assistant?
So when we do business coaching with people, we work on 90 and 120 day windows. And so we set targets every like 90 to 120 days. And inside of your business targets, like let's just say arbitrarily you were working with me and your target this 120 days was you want 50 clients at the end, right? We've also had the discussion that like your peak is 50 clients. So if you tell me by the end of this challenge you want 50 clients, I'm also going to challenge you to say, okay, I also need to know by the end of this challenge who you're going to be bringing in the next challenge for your admin. right? Because I'm going to I'm going to make that awareness to you. So it has to at least be planned, because you have to be aware of like what your targets are. Where are you moving? I think so many people get into business and they have this word growth and structure and scale, right? They have these words at the forefront of their mind, but like, what do those numbers, like, what do those words mean? Like, to grow, dude. I mean, like I said earlier, we're a $5 million company. Well, growth could mean that we become a $5,000,001, company, or growth could mean we become a $10 million company. Like technically, by definition, those are both growth. But unless we got really specific about that growth, then we're just talking in ambiguities. So I think everyone needs to understand, where are they actually trying to go? What are you trying to achieve inside of scale? And if you understand those things, well, everything else becomes simpler. Because if you're telling me, well, I want 50 clients, okay, great. Well, I know 50 clients is your cap. So I also know you're going to need an admin. I also know you're going to need a salesperson.
Right.
We're probably going to need to hire you another coach. Are we going to monetize that hiring process, or are we just simply going to hire? What are the qualifications we're going to look for? So every phase of growth should also create another set of questions.
Awesome points, man. So we talked about the worst moments or worst moments. What's been the best moments so far?
Writing really big paychecks. I remember when I had a coach come to me that had never made more than $2,500 in a paycheck in her life. And I remember the first time I wrote her a paycheck that was over $12,000. Wow. And I just got a text message that put me into tears, because it was like just the most humbling moment. And to have signed my name on that, and to know that like we built something where not only she felt validated to work inside of that system, but she created like freedom for herself inside of that system, there's no words for it, man. It's absolutely insane. It's so cool. But like more than anything, man, like the opportunity to do this with people I love. My media guy lives in my house. He lives in my basement. And you get to hang out with him every day. He's like my best friend. He was best man at my wedding. And, I get to, like the COO of my business started as my PA. Her fiance was also at my wedding. And, I literally get to do what I want to do with people I love every single day. And to pinpoint like one moment and say that's the best would, in my opinion, be mistaken. I think there's been so many amazing things, like certifying other individuals, creating, I've created multiple 6-figure earners inside of business coaching. I've, helped people lose 200 pounds. I've helped people overcome hormonal issues. I've helped people get pregnant that said they couldn't get pregnant. Fuck, man, like it's just a wonderful world that like we live in. It really is. Like I could go for days, dude. Like I'm so blessed.
That's awesome to hear all these relationships you've developed throughout these years, and the many people you've helped along the way. That's awesome, man.
That's the forefront, man. Like, and I think when people, like, the money is cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm very proud of my success, and I'm not afraid to talk about the success we've built, because I don't come from anything. And I remember when I made my first $1 million, my mom said to me, "When are you going to get a real job?" And I laughed, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is a real job? And she said, well, like one with benefits. And I said, Mom, I said, I'm one of the few companies in the world that I pay 100% of my employee benefits. Like, I take care of my family. I take care of my team. So I don't know what that means. And, but it's that security, scarcity mind that I was raised with. And so, I'm very fortunate that I've beat that, and I'm very proud of that. But that will always pale in comparison to the notion that changing lives, man. Like, I remember for me, overcoming anorexia was like the greatest thing in the world. It was like the best, like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. And to do that for other people, and to know like wholeheartedly like what that feels like, there's no words, man. It's the coolest thing in the world.
That's awesome, brother. So Jason, I got one more question, and then I'm going to get to the questions to the audience has. So to those that are listening and watching right now, can you provide some actionable steps that they can take to, to become a successful, personal trainer, or nutrition coach or whatever that may be?
Yeah. I'm going to give you one step and you're going to repeat it a million times every day until you die. And it's just add value. Like there's no hesitation in me to add value in any situation I find myself in. To the day I die, I'm going to say yes to everything. As you know, you may not get me in like the day you reach out to me. It's just a function of my schedule, but I'm never going to tell anybody no. It's just like what we do. And I want to add value to every single person in this world. And I think that if you come inside of our system and you know me and you see what I do and like you run into me in public, like that's me. Like it's no facade. Like it's who I am. And if you want to be that person and you want to add value and you want to grow and you want to have impact and you want to create money inside of this game, like add value, add value, add value, right? Now, of course, there's tactics like tell the truth and, know your targets and like, create structure inside of your business. But you could have the best business plan in the world. You could have the best targets. You could tactically execute perfectly. But if you're not like really concerned about adding value, and if you're not telling the truth and you're not a good human being, like you lose, period. The end, game over. Like you will win by simply adding value. I think that like if I had to start from scratch tomorrow, took everything from me, I would become an influencer. I'd put out so much content that so many people followed me. And at that point, like, influencers are like the number one trust source on social media. Like right or wrong, like we can't dispute the fact that if you have 500,000 people following you on Instagram, people trust you, right? Like you're putting information out. You've added enough value that 500,000 people want to follow you and see what you're doing. Like at that point, you now have the world listening, go add more value and help them. And at that point, you've earned the right to monetize it. So like if you want to build a business, like don't stress the money, stress the value. Because it's the value game that will lead you to the top.
I love it, man. I love it. I love that input. So for those of you guys who don't know, I reached out to Jason actually back in around March, April timeframe, along with the many other fitness influencers. And it's now July. It's takes some time to get with these guys. Jason, $5 million fitness business company. So I've reached out to him. I've actually reached out to Bedros and some of the other guys. Vince.
Have you connected with Bedros?
Just through Instagram. Actually, got connected with one of his assistants with his books.
If you need connections outside of here, I'm happy to give them to you, dude.
Awesome, brother.
I like what you guys are doing, and I can foster some connections for you. So.
And that's the main goal that I want to do is just, bring in people like you, successful fitness influencers. That way they can add value to the community that I'm a part of. So. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm all about it, dude. Like I have so much respect for what you guys do, like more than you guys will ever know. And, if we can turn that around in any way, and I know B shares the same thing. And, Garrett doesn't do interviews or I'd connect you with him, but Bedros for sure, Craig for sure, and we can continue opening up the doors for you. I'd be happy to do so.
Awesome, Jason. Thank you. So going to the questions, Caitlin had a question. Jason, I've taken several nutrition classes in college and have 5 years of experience in the bodybuilding industry. I know a lot about nutrition at the cellular level, but I don't currently carry a sports nutrition certification. Do you think it's really necessary to have it in the beginning of my business?
I don't think that the letters after your name matter. I rarely get asked what my education background is. Now I do have a degree, and I obviously own my own certification. So I would challenge you prior to taking money from somebody, take on some people for free, make sure that your knowledge is as good as you think it is. And if you start creating success and you demonstrate that you can definitely help people, don't stress any letters after your name. Now, if you want to go take that certification to build a better knowledge base, because remember earlier I said one of the cornerstones of being really successful is that knowledge base, then I would highly recommend that you do so. Even now that I own my own certification, I still take every certification that comes out because I just, somebody might put something out that I've missed. And so I I highly recommend doing it purely from a knowledge base. But if you're just looking myopically at the question of, do you need it to start operating? The answer is no. Instead, I would buy insurance, because let's be honest, we live in America, and we love our legal system in America. So
Right.
I would buy insurance.
Awesome, man. Okay, going to another question. I believe
Yep.
this is from Paul.
Cool.
Paul, he says, I'm a still active duty Army, very busy job as an executive officer at a research institute, have family, etc. What would you recommend to get online clients given no current face-to-face business?
Okay, I can read it now. What would you recommend? Would you recommend to get online clients given no current? Dude, this goes back to what we were just talking about in terms of adding value. So the first thing is patience, man, because you're not going to find a ton of clients right now because you haven't added value, right? It's like if we're in Times Square and like we're in Times Square with a million people, like the people that stand out are like the cowboy playing the guitar in his underwear, right? Like not like everyday dudes like me and you. And so there's no reason that people are going to pull you aside and watch what you're doing. People are going to pull aside like the weirdo, like freak show that's like on stilts or like playing his guitar in his underwear. And so you have to become that spectacle, but you do so by adding value, by creating content. And so for you, it's a two-phase approach. Number one, it's content creation. Number two, it's then calls to action, right? So create content and create lots of content and make sure it's very educational. Right now on Instagram, like the infographics seem to convert really well. So follow Jordan Syed. He creates lots of them. Carter Good makes really good ones. But do some things like that, add value to enough people. And then, dude, anytime someone likes it or comments, like message them, offer to help them. Like every single person that shows interest in what you're doing, find a way to help them, man. Like DM them, like, hey, I'm not looking to charge you. I just want to help you. And like, you go back to that value proposition and you just help. Before you know it, people are beating your door down, asking to pay you to build your business.
And I love a comment. That's just showing interest to what you're all about, right? And then if what more if you reply back to them or DM them, like Jason is saying, like you're showing interest in their need as well.
100%, dude. I mean, people don't want to spend money in somebody they don't trust.
Right.
So you gotta earn their trust.
And then PA Trez is saying being an influence first is a great point.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think it's the world we live in, right? Again, if we're having this conversation 10 years ago, it's a different conversation, but it's the world we live in today.
Right.
Like, I mean, this thing right here dictates the world, right? Like, I mean, it is what it is.
All right. Okay, I got another one, Jason. This is from Cody. He says, I own a CrossFit gym in Oklahoma, and my main revenue stream is the recurring membership model. What approach would you take to add value through a nutrition coaching and personal training that could reach people outside of my gym?
So the first thing you got to do is you got to invite them in the gym, man. Have a seminar and offer value. Position yourself as the expert. Right now you're not reaching people outside of the CrossFit gym because they think that you offer one service, and that's CrossFit and CrossFit classes. You want to open up training, like do some sort of training seminar. But I've had massive success doing nutrition seminars in CrossFit gyms, and invite the whole community. Keep it free. Don't charge for the seminar. Just put butts in seats and then educate for like 4 or 5 hours. And at the end of that, give them a deal. Offer them into your nutrition coaching program, and do this like every quarter. You'd be surprised, man. I've put 80 people in a gym, and I'll normally close 40 to 50 clients walking out of that. Typically we'll charge anywhere $200 to $500. We'll close them at like $175. And that's a really good revenue stream, man. 40 people at $175 is a great day. Obviously you own the gym, so there's no expense there. But invite the community in that way, man. Just help them, right? Again, you're educating them. You're paying it forward. You're not asking for anything. Perhaps you do this in conjunction with something like Murph or like one of your bigger events. Obviously, like anytime the community is getting together anyway, invite more of the community in and do a seminar on top of it. I know I did a a certification a couple weeks ago in Arizona, and the night before we invited the whole community out to do a Friday night seminar where, I haven't done a seminar in a year and a half, 2 years maybe. And so, it was positioned as like, hey guys, like Jason's doing another seminar. This might be the last one for a very long time. Just come out, it's totally free. Like we did ask them to bring a donation because we were donating to a cause, but just whatever your donation, even if it's $1, like whatever, just get in the door and come hang out. And man, I think we had like 100+ people there. So.
And I think it's Cody. Just to go back with what Jason was saying about nutrition, maybe offering like, like a trip to where you invite the community, where you go grocery shopping, kind of like just showing them, what to buy and what to stay away from or something like that.
I mean, anytime you can add value and anytime you can create community. Remember, people want to be part of communities inherently, right? Like people want to be part of something. When I discuss businesses, especially online businesses, I discuss them in the framework of a movement. Like every successful business at the root is a movement of some sort. And people want to join a movement. They want to be part of community. So you got to build that community that they can ultimately be a part of.
All right. And then one final question. I know we'll go through this later on, but Paul had a question. How do I learn more about N3?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to like plug on your stuff, but in3nutrition.com is our website. You can check it out. And then also if you're looking on the education side, I would definitely check out Nutritional Coaching Institute, and that link is NCI certifications with an S.com. Those are our two homes.
Awesome, man. So Jason, coming up in the last portion of our interview here, this is I asked him I guess 5 fitness facts of Jason here. So are you ready for these questions?
Let's do it.
So Jason, what's your favorite workout?
Fran, 21-15-9 thruster pull up.
What's your least favorite?
Oh, anything that involves running.
No cardio.
No, honestly, anything that involves high rep, like Olympic lifting, cycling. So like anything with like heavy barbell snatches or cleans done like a lot. Like I would rather do Murph than Amanda. And for those of you guys that don't know CrossFit workouts, like Murph is run a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, run a mile, which can take like 40 minutes. And Amanda is just really simple, 975, squat, snatch, ring muscle up. But the squat snatch, even at a lightweight at 135, destroys me. I move so poorly, and I sit so much by nature of what I do that, it crushes me.
Caitlin says, second that about running. She does not.
I feel you. Everyone feels my pain.
Yeah. Next question, Jason. If you had to choose one person you could train with, who would it be and why?
Ooh. How long do I get to train with them?
Your choice. Just for one.
If it's like
one workout, for
one session.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, and it's not a fitness person because I don't think there's anybody in the fitness world that's going to blow my mind inside of fitness. Like I've been around the block. It would be somebody like a Gary Vaynerchuk where I just want to hang out for an hour.
You just pick his brains.
Yeah, man. Like that's it. Like, and I love Gary. Like we've built a little bit of a friendship over the years. And so, but somebody like that, like Gary, Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, like somebody in that group, right? I would just want to hang. Maybe Andy Frisella because he's intense and like we probably would have a really dope workout. Or you know what? Who comes to mind? Rob Bailey. Like he's very underestimated, and the guy is he's a really calculated dude. And I think we would have a good workout as well. So we get a good workout. We talk business, like we get along. So it probably like Rob Bailey.
Rob Bailey from Flag Northvale. Correct?
Flag Northvale. Yep.
Okay. Next question. Recommend a book for our listeners to read.
Little known fact about me. I don't read. So I am not the right person to ask about that. All right. I'll give you one. And it's because Garrett's my coach. He's my mentor. He's everything in my life. On the business side, his book, it's called Warrior Book, warriorbook.com. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Tell us your favorite quote and why.
Oh man, you guys go deep. I mean, I'm a weird person, dude. Like, there's a lot of quotes that I love in life. And at any different time, I think that I could help you find one that is applicable. But I really believe that we all create our own lives. Like, we all control our own actions and our own attitudes. And I really try to live inside of that. And I try not to look to like quotes for like sources of inspiration. Lately, like one that resonates a lot with me, obviously, is inside of Invictus, which is I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul. And I really dig that. But like I tell everybody, there's two things in life that you can control: your attitudes and your actions. And I literally live by that. I don't care how good your day is, how bad your day is. You get to control your highs. You get to control your lows. Like, it's all on you, man. So if you want me to quote myself, like that's one. But I don't have any other quotes that just do it for me.
Right. No, it's an excellent point. You control your actions and your attitude.
That's it. Because it's the only two things in life you're always in control of.
Right. Everything else
in life, it's outside of your control. And until we recognize that, like, we're going to hold on too tightly and we're not really going to experience any appreciable amount of success. And so when you start to let go a little bit and you understand where you do have control, life becomes a lot simpler.
And add value.
Add value, man. Add value like a motherfucker.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Where can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, dude. So first and foremost, social media. I will say I am by no means famous, but I get more messages today than I ever have. So if you message me, just be patient. I promise you I'll do my best to get back to you. The contact form on our website at in3nutrition.com is really good. Like, my assistant gets those. She's really good at filtering them out and getting the questions to me. That's a great place. Obviously, any inquiries you have would go through that website. Or, like, more than anything, man, just come to one of my events. Like, I would love to meet you. I would love to have you at NCI. I would love to have you at one of, or just our one-day retreats. Like, whatever it is, like, I would just love to hang and see how much value I can add. But I'll tell you this, like, because of like the number of messages I get, just be relentless, man. Like,
right.
Like, nobody annoys me, I promise. Like, it's just a chance that like the first 10 messages you sent, like, they didn't, like, they got caught up with 30 other messages. And like, I'm so like humbled every time I get one message. Like, not even 100 messages, but like one message is the most humbling thing in the world, that like you took time out of your day to want to ask me something that I can actually bring value to you. Like, that's so incredibly humbling. So, like, reach out. Like, it's all love. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, he will respond. I
will. I promise. Like, right. I feel so bad, like, because like I said it one time and this dude was like, man, like, I've been sitting on my message for 2 months and like you never responded. And he's like, you said you would respond. I felt so bad. So now I try to like I try to create proper expectations and at the same token, man, like, one of the things I preach is balance. And so, as much as I want to engage and be sure that I give everybody everything, like, I can tell you that, like, my family and, my wife and my daughter, like, once they have their time, then everybody else can have my time. And it's something you have to learn your entrepreneurial journey too. You're a new father, and
right.
you're gonna learn there's some shifts that take place, man. Like, what used to get your attention will not get your attention first anymore, and that's okay. Like, that's the beauty of what we do.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the time, Jason. So I got one final question for you.
Yeah.
I know you're a big entrepreneur, big influencer. You got a $5 million company that you're running right now. And I know that's going to go up from here. But one thing I ask all my guests is this one thing is, what can I do to further help you?
man, like you're doing it. I'm here. You know, we're in this race together. You know, I really believe that I asked Lewis Howes that same question. And you know, when him and I parted ways that night, my quote to him was, I said, you know, one day you and I are going to create impact together. And that was it. Like he said to me, because you know I did him some favors, like I bought a lot of books, and he said, what can I do for you? And I said, nothing, dude. Like one day we'll do impact together. And so I, you know, if you're asking me how can you help me, brother, one day let's just create impact together, because that's why we're put here on this earth. Like we're put here to pay it forward and to help a lot of people, and to have fun while we're doing it. And so if we really want to stay true and remain authentic to that, then it's let's create it together, and like let's help more people. I don't need you to do anything for me, man. Like I'm self-sufficient. Like I'm blessed. Like you know, I'll hustle for what I do, and I'm massively appreciative of the offer. But I think that together we're both very powerful, and we can do some really cool things. And all the people that are watching, like join us in that effort. Like let's all create impact together, because that's the game, man. And that's where success really lives.
Awesome, Jason. And you know, guys, for those guys watching, time is the most valuable gift that we can give another person. And Jason, I appreciate the time that you provided us by joining us in this show this evening. And yeah, just if you need anything, and just connect. Let's work.
No doubt, man. And same to you. Same to everybody here. Reach out, whatever I can do. I hope you guys enjoyed some of what I had to say. If there's anything else I can clarify, please don't hesitate to ask. And man, love what you're doing, brother. Let me know how I can help you as well.
Awesome. All right, Defenders, that's the show for this evening. I'll see you guys soon, and keep changing lives.